How do you know when it's on?
We're live.
What?
We're live.
Just, it's video.
Yes.
So
no, this is live on Facebook.
Oh, I thought you didn't want to go live.
Let's go live.
Can they hear us talking right now?
Yes, they can.
Oh, hi everybody, we are live. I didn't know that. I thought we were just doing video. Wow, this really changed things.
You
didn't tell me that. All right. Well, you don't have to just look at me today on live. Ashley is joining me, and we are going to talk about the FLOK cameras, how they were received into Dodge County. There's been some questions about it. And I thought, well, if there's questions about it, let's answer those questions about it. And this went through a meeting at Dodge County, a committee meeting called JPP, Justice and Political Judicial and Public Protection. Whew, a lot of words.
Tongue twister.
Anyways, that was brought before these 5 committee members, and Ashley had attended that meeting, and unfortunately we couldn't get the recording to work for that meeting. So we have Ashley here to tell you what happened. So why don't you just give us your experience? You've been to quite a few meetings, right?
So for those of you who are new here and who don't know who I am, Dan is my father-in-law. And I am the one who typically goes to the committee meetings and takes my video camera, records the meetings, and then uploads them to YouTube. And I do all of the agendas and the minutes so you guys can follow along. But typically, that's my responsibility. So being in front of the camera is definitely a little more nerve-wracking than being behind the camera. So I'm just going to go over what happened that day so you guys have an overview. I got to the building, and unfortunately, because of all the security equipment that they have at the sheriff's at the courthouse building, my camera was reformatted to a slow speed, and so when I tried to record, it was not catching the meeting. So I have no video footage that is viewable for you guys, which I was really, really frustrated about. I obviously did a public comment at this particular meeting, and I did some screenshots. I printed some screenshots of the comments that of a post that Dale actually put on Facebook asking for donations for these FLOK cameras. I printed out the comment section because it was uncanny how almost every single comment was against bringing these cameras to Dodge County. So it wasn't just me that was against it. It was a lot of community members who also held that same opinion. So I put that stack of paperwork on the table, and not one committee member picked it up to even look at a single comment. No one wanted to touch it, which was disappointing. Let's see. I spoke to a big brother tactic, and how if these cameras are needed to do the job, then we obviously have a problem. I ended my public comment with a quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, "They that give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." After I made my public comment, Judge Shasha, who is a judge here in Dodge County, asked if he could also comment, and the chairman, Paul Conway, allowed him to do so after he filled out a comment card. Judge Shasha proceeded to say that he would like one of these cameras on every single intersection in Dodge County. That shocked me and disappointed me, hugely.
He made that decision right then and there. Huh?
Yes, that was clearly his opinion. He only got up to make a comment after I had made my public comment.
Because that was supposed to be filled out ahead of time, these public comment cards, right?
Typically, that's how I've understood it in the past. If you want to make a public comment, it needs to be filled out before the meeting begins.
Evidently, he wasn't planning on making one, but he decided to make one as well.
That's what it would appear. I could be wrong, but that's what it would appear.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he continued, and while he wasn't necessarily looking right at me, he was certainly responding to my public comment. He said that people have no expectations of privacy when they leave their homes, quote unquote. He said that these cameras are no different than someone at a public park taking a picture of you, and he then rushed out the door citing a court appearance. So after the public comment, the meeting continued. There was a district attorney's update, there was a medical examiner's update, child support update, and then we come down to the sheriff's department. And Dale went through the other agenda items before we got to the FLOK cameras. And then he started talking about the FLOK cameras. He spoke extensively about the instances that the FLOK cameras had helped solve crimes. He had a very long list. He stated also that this segment of the meeting, now I want to make this very clear to people who are watching, he stated that this part of the meeting was for informational purposes only. Okay, folks? Informational purposes only.
Well, that's a pretty solid way of saying he's made up his mind and he just wants to let everybody know what he's going to do.
Yes.
Okay.
He used every chance he could to ridicule and belittle the position that obviously I hold and so many of you in the community hold that are against these cameras. He used every opportunity to disrespect and belittle you. At one point, the entire room, minus just a couple people, were laughing with him as he again discredited and disrespected me. Some of the words he used were misinformation.
Oh, wait. He never uses that word.
Seems to be a favorite of his these days.
Yeah.
Wrong info, outlandish, and crazy.
That's our sheriff.
Yeah. So then at that point, Paul Conway, who is the chairman of the committee, again reiterated that we always have cameras already in our faces. And he said, case in point, and he pointed to my video camera, and almost the whole room chuckled again along with him. At one point in the conversation, one of the committee members, Roger Freivolt, brought up concern about another lockdown and the use of cameras to target people if they were out and about, to which Dale replied, he didn't have the authority then, and he doesn't have the authority now, or would have that power now either. Roger stated that explaining that might go a long way for some of us who are concerned about the misuse of these cameras by our law enforcement here in Dodge County.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please.
I know that Sheriff Schmidt took credit for not hauling people in when they violated the governor's lockdown orders. But I also know that then attorney Kurt Klomberg had made it known that he did not want anybody coming in for those kind of charges, that it came from above Dale to Dale, so he would know, don't do it. So he's not there anymore, our Kurt Klomberg district attorney. We have a new one. Where will she stand? We don't know. So he really could not confidently make that statement.
So at that point, the conversation about the FLOK cameras ended there. What I want to make, again, very, very clear at this point, there was no vote from the committee. There was no call to vote on anything. Again, in Dale's words, informational purposes only. There was also no recommendation from any committee member to send this proposal, plan, whatever you want to call it, to the full board for any kind of approval or even discussion.
Well, he didn't have to. If it's under $50,000, they don't have to bring it before the full board, and evidently that's what it came in at. So, which
I'm going to just say this right now. If we add up the cost of every single camera that he's saying he wants to put in, because I do remember the number 22, folks, 22 cameras. If you add up $2,750 22 times, he's going to squeak just under that $50,000. Am I wrong?
Well, you did the math, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to even try right now. Interesting. So that meeting was not really, these professionals really didn't have a great deal of respect for the public who came and those who you actually represented when you brought forth your public comment, did they?
I think what's so sad is that government is supposed to be we the people. And when you are disrespected and ridiculed and laughed at the way that I was, it's so sad.
That's when the chairman of the committee should have stepped in and said, order in this meeting. It's not
Point of
supposed
order
to be
would have
allowed.
been very appropriate.
Right. But no one said anything. It was just silent. And the rest of the committee said nothing also, evidently.
Nope. No questions were asked. No, other than Roger Freivault, the one.
Sure. And I know a lot of you people out there are concerned about this government surveillance that's being put out. I had one individual tell me, when I go out, I would like to choose whether or not I get watched or surveilled or not. It shouldn't be that if I go out, I have no choice but to be in somebody's eye. Where do we draw the line? I'm not saying that I have the answer. Nobody really says they have the answer, but it's an issue. It's something we have to think about. And I know that it is on your minds because it has become something that is being talked of a lot on Free and Dodge on Facebook. There's a lot of comments and a lot going on there about these FLOK cameras. Mostly, how did this happen so quick? Well, it pretty much was a decision of one person to bring it into Dodge County, and he didn't want to listen to anybody but who?
Himself.
Dodge County residents have supervisors who represent them. If this is going to affect all of Dodge County, why didn't he, in good faith, come before the supervisors and say this is what he wanted to do? Because it's a touchy situation. I think it would have been nice. But he didn't have to. Legally, he did not have to. So you gave these comments and placed them there on the table for the supervisors that are on the committee to read some of the dissenting views about the FLOK cameras, and they never even made any kind of interest to read them?
No, I want to make a clarification.
Sure.
These comments were under a post that was put on the official Dodge County Sheriff's page, I'm assuming by Dale, asking for donations to cover the costs of these cameras, because obviously they're not a budgeted item as far as I'm aware. So he needed donations to cover that. And so these comments that, people were upset about these cameras were under that post.
Okay. But they probably don't read them, so here they were in front of you. You're going to be discussing this, hopefully. Here's some opinions, some viewpoints from the residents of Dodge County, but no interest in that at all.
Not one person even picked it up to look at it.
At this meeting also, I know you mentioned that the chairman was a little irked about being considered a committee of yes men. He said that, something along that line, right?
Something along that line,
I can't
yes.
quote him because I wasn't there.
Something about we obviously don't think for ourselves or group thinkers or something along that line.
And then I recall that at a previous full board meeting, I think it was, something was mentioned along that line. So I did some investigating. I went to the JPP minutes for the last 6 months looking for a no man. And you know how many I found? 0. It was always, whether it was creating new positions or more wages for positions that are there already, or FLOK cameras, no pushback, no dissenting opinion, no debate on whether it's good or bad. Always the vote was yes, 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 yes. So, I don't know. That's the record that I found, and maybe if you go back farther, you'll find some contradiction to that, but I think I know why it happened that way too, because I talked to the chairman of the board back in May of 2022 when Chairman Froling appointed the committees, and he told me on the phone that he consulted department heads to find out who they wanted on the committees that were overseeing them. Now, who's the department head here of the Sheriff's Department? We all know who that is. So I guess this is evidently who the sheriff wanted on his committee, so he could basically run the Sheriff's Department any way he wanted to. The previous session, there was one individual on there that always questioned what he was doing, and I guess someone didn't like that. So, you know what? He didn't get on that committee this time. Go figure, huh? So, there's problems there, and we're trying to work with those too. But I thought that would be something of interest, a little rabbit trail, but now you're starting to understand why things are happening the way they're happening in Dodge County here. And the FLOK cameras are just another effect of that cause. We want to do this. Chairman of the board says, okay, bring it to the meeting. All the committee members, chairman of the committee says that, and all the committee members say, it's okay with me. And people don't really want that. Oh, what else did we want to do here? Any other comments you have about what you experienced at that meeting?
Other than just the disdain for the citizens, it's really sad and unfortunate to see. That would be my biggest takeaway. I've been to a lot of meetings, folks, a lot of meetings over the past couple years. And I will be honest when I say this was one of the most, if not the most difficult meeting to attend and sit through because of the attitude of a lot of people in the room. Not everyone, but a lot of them.
So you really didn't feel welcome there? Huh?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
And that shouldn't happen to any resident of Dodge County at a public meeting. So, just wanted to mention about these FLOK cameras. I talked to the company, and the basic model just takes still photos of the back of cars and throws the pictures on a pile, basically, and you can put it in another file to start working with it. But they wouldn't tell me what the cameras are capable of. They were very cautious about that. They said, if you want to find out what the cameras that you have in Dodge County are capable of, ask the sheriff. So I think it's maybe time for all of us to ask the sheriff. Call him up and say, what are the cameras that you have put up in Dodge County capable of?
I will link his contact info right under the title of this video for you all.
Because he has decided to do this to all the residents of Dodge County without even running it past the representatives of all the citizens of Dodge County on a matter that has constitutional concerns. Because if you read the Fourth Amendment of the federal Constitution, you might see something that is going wrong here. And once you give up a right, try to get it back again. So, thank you, Ashley, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun, and we're going to keep up with this. It's something that everybody's interested in. We are interested in what you are interested in, no matter what somebody else may say. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.